Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to another episode of the Monie Podcast. I am your girl, Monie, and today's episode will be a real conversation about life, growth, purpose, and the spaces we called to impact. Today, we're going to be talking about education, leadership, and the people making decisions that directly shape our communities. I'm going to be speaking with an individual. She is a former trustee with PDSB. She plays a vital role in representing the community, advocating for students, and helping guide decisions that affect thousands of families across the region. With a strong commitment to, equality and equity and student success and community engagement, she brings both leadership and heart to her role. Today, we're going to dive into what it really means to sit at the decision-making table, the challenges, the responsibility, and the impact. Please help me welcome my guest, Kathy McDonald.
Thank you for that.
Hi, Kathy.
Hello. Great to be here.
Yes, thank you for taking the time to be in the Monie Podcast. It's such an honor to have you. I've watched you. I've seen you grow. I've seen your work. And I just said, you know what? I'd love to have her and sit down and just have a little chat. So this is it.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So I want people to know who you are and what you do. Tell us about your background and what led you into your role or your former role that you currently have.
Well, I am Yardi, first and foremost.
Yes. Get that. Oh, yeah.
I'm from Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
and I actually came to Canada when I was 6 months old.
Oh, wow.
And as you can tell from my Canadian accent, that something happened. So my mom were in northern Quebec.
Okay.
And my mom, after 2 years, and she was required by my dad's company to live outside of Jamaica for 2 years in my dad was a Alcan executive.
Okay.
And to move up into, senior management,
Mm-hmm.
you were placed in different other countries across where Alcan had their operations, right? So it could be from where they were mining ores, or in the case of Quebec, they had a smelting plant where they actually converted the aluminium to the aluminum foil. That we the Alcan foil or the tin foil cans, right?
Yes.
But this was in the early 70s.
Okay.
And Black people were actually a novelty in Quebec. They'd come up to us and rub our skin and pull out our hair. It drove my mother crazy. So after 2 years, she was like, I'm heading back to Jamaica with my children, right? Are you coming? So so we went back to Jamaica. I was educated in Jamaica. And I think it's important to know that part of the story because that kind of shaped the advocacy that I do today.
Yes.
So I grew up in Jamaica, which is predominantly a Black country, where we have Black prime ministers, Black lawyers, Black doctors. This is commonplace to us. I would argue I went to the best school in Jamaica.
Oh, is that right?
High school.
Hear that?
And, I was just grew up with people that had high expectations of me and my classmates all the time, right? I had, they didn't have different expectations from domestic worker's daughter or, one of the owners of, multinational corporations or big business or company executives. They just had high expectations for us. And, I came to McGill for university, and I used to come up to Montreal quite a bit because Alcan's head office was on Sherbrooke Street, Rue de la Sherbrooke in Montreal, and I fell in love with old Montreal, so I went to McGill.
Okay.
And I actually came to do medicine, believe it or not. I have a strong history of sciences in my family, quite a few doctors in our family. And But then I realized quite early in my journey it wasn't for me.
Okay.
And someone said, why don't you go to Shad Academy, Little Burgundy, and help? There were a lot of young black males my age, right? Because I came into university when I was 18 years old, that couldn't read. And I fell in love with just teaching, because first of all, I couldn't believe that you had 18-year-olds, cognitively brilliant people, but they couldn't read. Right? And just the few sessions I started, I said, man, this is amazing. And I kept volunteering there. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. My mom's a teacher and actually also have a long line of teaching in the family too.
Wow.
But I knew that I wanted to make a difference in terms of ensuring that people got the education that they were legally entitled to. And, met my husband at McGill, got married, had children, and just was blown away by the anti-Black racism in education. My husband grew up here, so hearing his stories, going to McGill, meeting other international students, Black students who had high expectations. So people from continental Africa, from the Caribbean, But what I found amazing was that the Canadian Black students at McGill or at Concordia, bar none, all said they were told they should never, your kind doesn't go to university, they'll never be good enough for you, you're not university material, all these negative, and that really I found shocking, right? And then, having children and witnessing my children going through the same nonsense that my husband went through in a quest for an education. And I knew I had to do something because, you can either sit and complain about something or be the change.
Up and be the change.
Absolutely.
And that, you would say, inspired you to take that path and move on to become...
Yep. And it was actually, I credit me being a trustee to one of the most amazing principals I've met to date, named David Jack, who was the principal of my first son's middle school. And he was the one who encouraged me to really go and become a trustee. And that was after, with such an outrageous, what I would consider beyond racism. It was just so traumatic for my son when a teacher said he didn't want my son in the math club, right? Actually, her math club. He didn't want my son in her math club. And it was so demoralizing for my son. And he actually won an international math exam, right? Almost 40,000 kids wrote this exam. He got a perfect score. And that teacher did not feel that we would care about those results. He didn't even tell my son.
Oh, wow.
And after that encounter, the rest is history. Here, I ran as a trustee, and I've been making good trouble ever since.
I like that. Good trouble ever since.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't say you saw yourself in like a leadership role or a public service. You just kind of encountered that path based on having to live through that and hear your family go through some of, the things that you said, listen, I have to stand up and be the change.
Absolutely. Because if somebody told my young self that I would be, in politics one day, I would say absolutely.
No, you didn't see.
I'm a scientist. I'm in a lab, beakers and doing my test, and no, it's just, one of those kind of not a linear path to my journey where I am today. Yeah.
And those are always the unique ones, the unexpected ones that you just never thought that is where you would be. This is what I would be doing, until those little journeys just unfold. For people who don't really understand, what does a trustee actually do day to day? Let them know a little bit about.
Absolutely, because I can tell you, coming from Jamaica, I had no idea what a trustee did, right? Because you don't have that level of government.
Yeah, that's true. Yes.
In
Jamaica, that's true.
And in a lot of countries that, like in India, for example, continental Africa, we don't have this kind of level of government. So a lot of people really don't understand the role and the importance of the role. And I can tell you as a trustee, I would sort of categorize my role into 3 parts.
Okay.
And I've learned, let me tell you, the hard way, but how important it is to make sure, which one of our most important role is to hire a competent director of education.
Mm-hmm.
And that can make and break boards.
Yes.
It's really important to get someone who is fully competent, not only understand like the teaching and curriculum, but understand the business part of the running a huge organization, understand the human rights obligations of running a huge organization. Someone that understands anti-Black racism, oppression, discrimination, right? So I think there's so many aspects to hiring a director of education that it's, I think, the most important role I have as a trustee, right? I think another important part of being a trustee is ensuring that we balance the budget, right? Because, we have a legal responsibility to ensure that our budgets are balanced, right? And another very important part is advocating for parents. So it's a balancing act because I have a responsibility to the board, but I also have a duty to inform parents about their rights and help them navigate the system, right? So it's interesting, and it's very tricky to really, for people to understand sort of the governance side of it, as well as my duty to help parents, right? And resolve. But it's important also to note that I am not in charge of the operational part of the board.
Okay.
So we have one employee, which is our director of education, and we charge her to follow through with the policies that we make. Okay. But we don't do the day-to-day, so I won't be in the classroom hiring a teacher or the custodians, right? But we make sure, for example, a good board would ensure that our custodians are working in good conditions, right?
Yes.
That they get the tools they need to do their job, right? We make sure that we allocate funds for different programs, that type of thing.
Shalaj, you see it? Kathy's doing the thing. It's detailed, and it sounds like you wear many hats. You're in there, and really,
Another thing I would mention too is that a lot of people. So we are elected, right? But we run in the municipal elections.
Okay, all right.
So the same ballots where you go to vote for your mayor and your regional councillors, and then you go to the bottom of the ballot.
Yes, I see it down there.
But unfortunately, a lot of people will go vote for the mayor or the regional council and leave. But it's so important. And I would argue that even though we are the least paid, we have the most important jobs because we are taking care of your babies, right? And making sure they get an education, a good education that they're legally entitled to.
See? I love that. Education. Yeah. Some of the real issues in education, I want to touch on that now. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges students are facing today when it comes to that?
I think technology, the distraction of the lure of this mindless scrolling,
and that's it.
The computer is huge. I think families are super, super busy now, and I think that's also a problem. So I think a lot of times, when you're trying to juggle the many things out there, kids often, I would say, end up being on back burners sometimes. I think it's harder to be a parent now than it was in our parents' days.
Definitely.
Because you have so many external influences, often which you can't even control, right?
Social media being one of the biggest,
Absolutely. And when you are able to control some of it, right? Because the kids go out to schools, they may have friends that have different access to technology than you would allow for your kids, right? I think it's a very challenging time to be a parent. I think there are a lot of mental health issues.
Yes.
That
definitely gonna touch.
we weren't around.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, because again, we didn't have that constant exposure and all that negativity. We didn't have to really discern what is fake, what is fact, what is fiction, right? I think our kids are exposed to things at a much younger age, and not necessarily an age where their little underdeveloped minds can handle some of this information. So I think, it is quite challenging in terms of and I also think that a lot of the technology, whilst they're good use for the technology, I think we are relying too much on technology too.
Yes.
And there was a study the other day that were saying that how cognitively kids now are actually underperforming, when they compare to their parents. Whereas up until now, every generation was, did better cognitively than their parents, right?
See?
As a group, just a gross generalization, but as a group, right? And I think that we have to, society as a whole really has to look and see what a relationship with AI and these technologies is going to be. We see out in Australia where they have banned social media for underage kids under age 16.
Cell phones too. They're looking to ban cell phones.
Yep. And I think that, these are conversations that world leaders are going to start having to have. Yeah. We see lawsuits coming out, suing some of these social media groups because they know the addictive nature of it.
Wow.
And they, the people that are arguing, and cases are being won. We're going to see where and what the settlements looks like. How is that going to change laws and regulations? Right? So I think, it's quite an interesting time. To be a kid trying to get an education.
Especially now, you hit it on the head when you said back then we weren't exposed to a lot of the things that kids now are exposed to. Social media wasn't around.
No.
Especially back then. And I think the main culprit, I would say, is a lot of it is the influence of social media. Having to be, trying to be different and trying to be popular. And it's so much pressure now than back then. And you also said AI. A lot of students are relying on that Chat GPT, and people are just typing into these things and just getting answers, as opposed to the good old days where you sit and talk to a friend and pick up a dictionary, look up what that word means on your own. Nobody's doing those stuff anymore.
Nope. And it's, people are believing, you just see something or you read it on the internet.
Yeah, and that's it. That's facts.
The source, anybody can say it, right? And I think parenting too, because I think that parents have to be more vigilant.
Yes.
I don't think parents realize how vigilant they have to be now. And I think, we have to go back to basic parenting, go back to talking to your kids around the dining table.
Exactly.
Not just giving them a device and then here you go, because it's easier for you, yes, but you have to look at the ramifications for your kid,
what's
right?
involved. Yes.
So I think we have to rethink about how we parent also.
Definitely. Look at that. Again, we're speaking to Kathy McDonald. You touched on it a little bit, mental health. I'm a big mental health advocate. I want to know, how is the board addressing mental health in schools right now?
Well,
big thing.
Yeah, it is huge. They have different boards, have different initiatives to address mental health. And I think for most boards, it's on their radar. I think the extent to which boards can do and offer services depends on the funding that they get.
Okay.
Right? And I think also beyond boards, I think parents, we need to start having conversations, because for a lot of cultures, speaking about mental health used to be so taboo. And I think, it was
Normalize.
crazy.
Yeah. Normalize it now. Yeah.
So that people, and normalize having your kids not being afraid to be able to come to you with concerns or with their feelings without thinking you're going to just dismiss it and say,
exactly.
Right?
No, do you?
Right.
I always hear that one.
Stop it.
Yeah.
That's right. And for many of our young people, their feelings are real. It's not imagined, and we need to deal with it. I think we have to be vigilant as to what our kids are exposed to on social media. And, when I tell kids, for example, I tell when I do parenting workshops, I tell parents, I said, my kids didn't get a cell phone till they needed one, meaning they started public transportation.
Yes.
And sometimes you have to arrange where to pick up or, and that was after about age 14.
Yes.
Right? 15. I think we have to sort of limit the exposure to what I call the cesspool on the fiber optics cable. You pay hundreds of dollars a month in some cases. I know people that pay hundreds of dollars for cable services.
Yes.
And I just see it as a cesspool of negativity for especially young Black children. I think it's traumatic, like the constant negative images that we're exposing our kids to. And I don't have cable in my home. And simply because I see it as a way to ensure that my kids are getting positive messages as much as they can. I can't protect them from all the negativity, but in my confines of my castle, I can, right? And I think we have to be so vigilant in guarding our kids' self-esteem because they have so many people in society, the media, ads, adults who are supposed to protect them are often
they're not
giving them negative. Right. And I think your home should be a haven for just building up kids. Right. And I think the more we can limit, and it's not a matter of you want them to be naive and they don't know about the world. Absolutely. We talk about real life. Right. But I think it's really important to regulate.
Yes, that's the right word.
The negativity that we expose our kids to, because when they leave the confines of your home, let me tell you, it is. And every day I always tell parents, when your kids come home from school, for example, you're talking about mental health, don't just say, how was school? The answer is going to be great.
That's it. Right?
You need to ask not no yes or no questions.
Exactly.
Deep diving questions. And because often I always tell, again, parents, when your kids come home, there's so many little holes and patches in that armor that hopefully you've put on in them before they leave school, that you have to patch them back up
when they come,
so they can, recharge and get ready for the next day. And it's really important. It sounds, animated, or sometimes you might say, oh, you're being dramatic, but it's actually true, because when kids are told, like, for example, in the school environment, just little things their friends might tell them, and you have so many different cultures that are anti-Black, that have these negative, crazy stereotypes about your kids, right? Oh, you people are irresponsible, or you people aren't smart, or, you people don't care about education, and and they get this constantly,
and
right?
That sticks.
It sticks. And we have to reassure them, absolutely not. I always say, I remember in Jamaica, we had this poem, a labor for learning before you grow old, because learning is better than silver and gold. Silver and gold will vanish away, but a good education will never decay.
Yeah, right.
Remind our kids about that, because we are a people of education. The highest paid IT specialist in the world is a Black Nigerian guy. Yeah, right? And people think, oh, our community don't do IT, don't do computers. You look at you look at the GPS. You look at the traffic light, a lot of the great inventions. You look at Zoom, the technology, voice, right?
Yes.
Came from the Black community. Right?
Yes.
There's so many inventions, so many amazing things that Black people have done.
Started, yes.
Yes. And, but yet still, they have all these ridiculous stereotypes about our community.
We're not that good and we're not up there. We deserve it. We have come a long way.
Absolutely. And these things impact their mental health.
Yes.
Believe it or not.
Making them feel like they can't really go as far as they want to and that they're limited.
That's right.
So try to tune out those negative voices and just believe in yourself. Know that you are great. You can do so much more than you believe that you can. So I really like that. Definitely the mental health piece. The parents play a big role in that. As soon as you come home, you definitely have to patch up that armor and say, let me take a look to see. I sent you out there solid and good. I see how you came home. What's going on?
Yeah. And affirmations. We have plenty of
affirmations. Yes.
Tell them you're amazing. You're great. Because they're not getting that. And you need them to feel good about themselves. You can do this. If they have a challenge, don't just say, a certain person said, I'm not good at math. Absolutely not. If you want to be a mathematician, you can be. We'll get the help, get the resources that you come, right? But it's very, very important for those affirmations, right?
Affirmations. You guys know I love affirmations. We're going to get into that closer to the end of our segment. How do you approach issues of equity and inclusions within the schools, especially inclusion?
Well, I think when you look at the diversity piece, we got that. We can check that off, right?
Yes.
And I think we struggle with the inclusion part. Because invariably in my work, when you start talking about inclusion, you have a lot of people like, what about me?
Yes.
What about me?
It starts, And
why them? And why not?
Why not us?
Right? And, people would say, I remember having a conversation with someone and they said, what about, you talk about Black kids, but how are the, one group of kids doing that are not Black? And I'm like, well, we don't have a history of, when you compare the stats with the dropout rate, for example, of Black males versus the dropout rates of Italian male, with the discrepancy, it's huge, right? When you look at how many people will be telling or the educational outcomes, right? And who gets told you're dumb because you're Black, right? Or your kind doesn't go to university. How many kids, right, from, let's say, from Asia are told you're dumb or your kind will not go to university, right? Compared to how many Black kids get that messages, right? So I'm not about this, what about me? The data is there. And I also believe that's why there's a push, especially in the South, to get rid of taking data, because before everything is anecdotal. But when you have the hardcore evidence and this percentage of the kids, it's hard to deny it, right? So I know a lot of people are, trying to get away from collecting data. We have courts that are saying that, there's no racism problem anymore, right? But that's not the reality of people that look like you and I, right? And I think that it is so important to, in terms of the inclusion part, to explain to people, right? Why? Because everybody always, what about me? Or why you think you're special? Or and just to show the cold, hard facts. And I think one-on-one, like I'll never go and talk to a big group like with 1,000 people, right? Because then you have all these other people, other agendas and the mad mob mentality. But when you talk to people one-on-one or small groups of people, and most people, because when they lay out facts, it's hard to dispute the facts that are before.
It's right there,
right?
In front of you,
And you can give concrete examples of this is happening to, which I look at the other day, 2 teachers were fired, right, from a TDSB board. I think it was the Catholic board, right? I think it was the Catholic board, right? On some racist comments that were made, right? And you have to look and examine what's really happening to, our students. I've had a case where, again, and I will go to anybody, whether my board is taken over or not. Anybody that reaches out to me, right, and finds me, I would help. I got a cry of help from a Toronto student that wanted to register at a school in Toronto. I had to drive there and help this advocate for this kid.
Wow.
Because he went to the school, he wants to do medicine.
Yeah.
Right? He's a new Nigerian immigrant to the country. And he was told that unless he played basketball, they were not going to enroll him in the school. And when he first told me that, the mom, I said, you must be mistaken.
Yeah.
But they weren't. I actually went to the school.
And they say it again.
And
my gosh.
Hi.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And this is 2025, September 2025. Missed 9 days of instruction because I had to fly down to the school. And I mean, you can't put him in physics. He wants to do physics, chemistry, and math. You tell him no. He has to play basketball. You can't make this nonsense up. And these are daily, regular occurrences to our kids, right? We have kids that are left outside in the cold for whatever reason. They claim, a teacher would say, oh, I didn't know, I didn't hear, right? You're the only class outside in the freezing cold and kids have no mittens and they're crying. And then you have evidence where people are trying to make up a story and blame an innocent kid. If it was not for a recording that the parents had, the story would have been, oh, they couldn't hear because of the little boy. And grown adults that are supposed to protect children are caught lying to make up a story. And this is the everyday occurrence.
You see,
right? Of kids. Kids are being, you have vice principals that are falsifying video evidence and say, well, for expulsion hearings. And they can say, you know what? They're going to believe us over you. So it doesn't matter what I say, what you say. If I tell them it's on the video,
that's it.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
Right? We have parents that would tell you their kids are being locked in closets. Right? And you hear the door slamming. And a lot of parents are resorting to put in recordings.
Yes.
Right?
It's sad.
Think of the trauma.
Yeah. That's
to protect their babies.
Resorted to,
Yeah. Parents, I got a call one day, and this is a different board. It's not one board, but just different cases, where somebody has their kid come home with a broken, autistic, nonverbal, crawling on their knees, and nobody can say what happened to the kid. Their ankle swollen, right? It's like, it's interesting.
It definitely is interesting.
To say the least.
The measures that we have to go through to prove things. He said, she said. And in today's society, it's sad to know that's what we've resorted to. Like, we have to really prove ourselves to such extremes. And fight and advocate.
Yep.
Oh,
and to be believed. We've had a case all the way out west, and I'm not going to call boards, where a kid who is from not a Christian, from a different religion, was afraid they're going to get in trouble with their parents for a video she made. And because a black boy, like, oh, I can't believe he made that video. That's disgusting. Accused him of sexually assaulting her. And they were ready to charge this innocent baby of sexual assault. Right? I get involved. I was guiding the parents of what to do, absolutely, and the letter that was sent to the parents. And when, as I said, push comes to shove, we found out the girl actually admitted that she made up the story because she thought her parents were going to be mad when they found out the video. And they thought they would believe her, which they did.
They did, eh? They did. I bet they did.
So again, it is, very, very important to make sure, and I circle back to this whole sense of inclusion.
Yes.
Right? That
important.
We now look at how are we including Black students in the education and experiences. And what are we doing to make sure they feel included? When they go into enhanced programs, for example, if people, they come out because people say, like, what are you doing here? Right? My own son experienced that. He went into a gifted program and they said, oh, what are you doing in this program? I didn't know Black kids were smart. And he just turned to them and I'm going to show you I'm smart.
Yes.
Right? So
Your
it's,
crown.
that's
Yes.
it, right? And these are the day-to-day experiences of kids, and we have to fight to make sure that they are in fact included in, and even I always tell parents too, with their trustees, you make sure these are the questions you should be asking your trustees. And not because a trustee has black skin means that also they are advocating. That's it. Because I said, listen, not all kinfolk, not all skinfolk are kinfolk. No, not all kinfolk are skinfolk. Right?
Yes.
And again, we as people have to ask these questions of our trustees. So what are your thoughts
You have to.
on, like targeting hiring, for example?
Yes.
What do you feel about that? Because they will have black trustees that will say, oh, I don't believe in target hiring.
You see, and then you place them in these...
And you place them in these roles simply because they're black people, right? And I think when it comes to inclusion, we have trustees play a big role because trustees are the ones that can create policies and directors of education to do things, right?
It sounds like a hot seat, that you're in, like, have you ever faced any like backlash or criticism? And if so, how do you handle that? Because this sounds like a little hot.
Listen, man,
rolling.
That's another podcast, one other day.
You'd have to be strong and sturdy in this, like, how do you keep grounded in this type of work? Your passion shows through, like, you are a true advocate. You really stand up and advocate on behalf of these students. But how do you keep yourself, like, grounded in this work?
I guess it's my why. And it's my deep-seated belief that education is the vehicle that's going to uplift our community.
Yeah.
And, once you get the education, they can't suck it out your brain, right? So I believe I have seen education transform lives. Yes. I have seen my, people because my mom was an educator. I have seen her take people off of the streets of Jamaica who are today, that came from abject poverty, right? From lifestyles you couldn't imagine, who have graduated summa cum laude, who are professors, who have their own families. They have amazing jobs, all because of an education, and they have lifted themselves out of poverty. So I know the importance of education, and I know the brilliance that our people have. And I can't understand why any human being would want to dull that or dim that, I remember once overhearing someone making a comment about a little Sikh boy because he was wearing a turban. And if I go, he's going to drive a taxi cab anyway. We don't have to worry about him learning English. And I'm thinking, these parents left a continent, crossed an ocean to come to Canada, right? And I'm not knocking a taxi cab driver because I use taxis, right? But you can't just say because a person looks a certain way that this is their destiny.
Exactly.
Right? We should be finding what they want to do.
Exactly.
And making them be the best version of themselves. I have a friend who has a child who has Down syndrome. She lives independently. She runs the family business because they gave her the best education and they had the resources to do that. But it's possible. You can't just say, this child has a disability or this child has a learning issue and then we just put them in a pet. We can't. I think each person, we have a duty to make sure that they all live to their fullest potential. And I know and I've seen what it is when kids get the tools to thrive and excel.
So far. Yeah, you're in it yourself. Education is the key.
Absolutely.
To success. Absolutely love that. Love that. I want to touch on your personal side a little bit. Like, how do you take care of your own mental health, like, while carrying on such responsibility? Because sometimes it must get a little rough.
Let me tell you. Sometimes. Let me tell you. There were times, let me tell you, going to board meetings, especially in the whole heyday of the craziness back in the day. I think, one, my faith in God.
That's a big one.
Is a huge one. And because I often wonder why he led me down this path. And I tell you, almost every time when I feel like I'm done, I'm not taking with this crap, especially
I'm out. Yeah.
you're not even paying me enough to this nonsense, right? And every single time, bar none, somebody somehow comes in and I hear a story or I meet, someone who was like, oh, thank you, but and it kind of recenters.
You're going back in,
Going back again. But I think for me, a couple of strategies that I use, like one, very, very few people have my home, my landline.
That's your person.
So when I have my cell phone, lots of people have my cell phone. And when I want, I turn off my cell phone.
Yeah, you can control that. That's true.
Because when my home is truly my castle.
Yes.
And I don't, I have 4 amazing children. They keep me grounded. I have a husband. So my world is not, it's not
consumed.
Consumed with all Peel District School Board.
Yeah, love that.
Or, education. And I do take time. Like I just came back from St. Lucia. Right?
Yeah.
It's a jazz festival. That, just because it's so important to recharge. And I remember I met this amazing lady, Candice, from the Organization of Economic Development and Diplomacy. And she gave a keynote and she talks about the pour. And it resonated with me because you cannot pour from an empty cup, an empty vessel.
You cannot.
So, I really make a point, and I don't need, millions of dollars to recharge, but I do, and especially the more I got into this work of advocating for Black children, and seeing, that a lot of people and a lot of organizations, they talk a good talk, they bring glossy posters out, they talk this, and they don't mean crap.
Don't walk it.
It's true. They don't. They don't really care for Black bodies.
It's true.
Right? They don't see the humanity in our children, right? And for me, it is not letting that go to my head. And each day, if I can move just a little, because this is like 400 or 500 years of oppression, right? Of dehumanizing us, right? And, you can see the way the world is going now too.
Exactly.
There's almost like an aggressive backlash against, right? Black and brown bodies, right?
Now more than ever.
More than ever.
It's true.
And they probably feel, we got so much from George Floyd, right? And they're trying to literally undo and regress. I remember I met Martin Luther King, the son. So he's the second or the third, I can't remember. Junior, right? Yes. And he actually said that his daughter has less rights than he did as a child when he was with his father in the civil rights.
His daughter
today. And I met him in 2021, I think, or so. Yeah. Right? That there's a push. You look at how they are gerrymandering, down south, or that's actively trying to, now, even institutions here in Canada, DEI is it's almost like it's a swear word. Nobody wants to talk about that anymore. Nobody wants to talk about anti-Black racism. They're trying to bury their head in the sand. But I think it's important for us as a community to keep those conversations going.
Absolutely.
We have good people doing amazing, amazing work. And we do have good politicians, right, who are not all Black people trying to make their own inroads too. And I think we have to really tap into good allies, So these are the things that keep me going and keep me, I guess, mentally grounded. Sometimes you get frustrated, and then you could call somebody and vent, and they'll remind you, we're going to do this. We're trying to give me a good time, So these are the type of things that just keep me grounded.
Keep you grounded.
And nothing like a nice cold Julie man.
I knew that was coming.
When it first
I was waiting for it.
yeah. And I just try to take care of myself. And walking.
Yes,
that's another thing.
That's
I
a
think
big one.
exercising is, I know you might look at me and say, boy, I don't know how to exercise.
Come on. Stop it.
But I tell you, walking is a good, like you kind of sort of stamp out.
Yes.
Angst in
And
you.
your mind just goes and you kind of release and get rid of some of those thoughts.
Yeah.
Walking is a big one.
Nature, a huge one.
Especially now, the weather's getting nice, so get out there, do some walking.
I love winter now. They call me Mother Russia.
Yeah,
I love
winter.
Yes, man.
Oh,
I love the cold. Because I always tell people, if you are hot, you can't walk on the streets naked. But if you're cold, you just add layers. You can have heated vests, heated socks. You can do things to stay warm.
it like that.
Yes, man. Give me the cold anytime.
No, absolutely not. I'll take the heat. But that's a really good point. She touched on our mental health, how you keep yourself grounded so you don't really fall off and you stay focused and continue to do the work that you're doing. I really love those tips. Those are some really nice tips. What has this role taught you about people and community? I'm telling you, this is it's a big role that you have. What has it taught you, would you say, overall with people and community?
Again, another podcast.
Give me a little snippet.
I tell you, I started this journey as a scientist, and I still think as a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm data driven.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a bit naive because I had never really been exposed to people who could look you, as they say in Jamaica, you're too young, right? The people that would look in the eye and just lie.
Oh.
And so I've taught, and I came in here at first, very trusting. I wore my heart on my sleeve.
Mm-hmm.
I'm no longer that kind of
type of person.
I'm very guarded with who I put in my inner circle.
Mm-hmm.
This job has also taught me the importance of integrity.
Yes.
Right? I think that's the one thing that people won't be able to take away from you.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And also being able to gain people's trust, because my job, there's so many people that I cannot, will not, and some that I can name that have helped me in this journey to uncover and do a lot of what I've been able to do.
Yes.
And it has been really important for me to protect their identity, right? And so many people have trusted me with information and with, that has allowed me to do the disrupting that I'm doing.
Yes.
So I've learned, because before I'd like to share things, but I've learned absolutely not. You can't trust. There are very, very few people that I actually do trust.
Yeah.
With information.
Especially now. Yeah, man.
Yes, I think, that has taught me. But I also, one of the things that I've learned, that there are actually good people
out there. Yeah.
Very good people.
Yeah.
Believing in the work, doing the work of all stripes. And, I have to be careful not to, because it's easy to just critique, right? And it could be demoralizing for the people that are really trying and doing the good work. So I make sure that I connect with those people, say, I see you, and, hear you, thank you. I think there are a lot of people, what I call unsung heroes in education. Like I remember I met a kid once who said it was the custodian that helped him build his self-esteem, that literally saved him. Right? So often you think, it's a guidance counselor principal, so all educational people are important.
Yes.
Right? The works, if you see, in my day-to-day travels in schools, you look at the ECEs, right? They're working with kids often in very difficult situations, thankless situations. Right? But they show up anyway. right? And I think I've learned how, and even coming into this job, how complex it is, right? This whole beast that is education. And I think because oftentimes, you make one decision, it impacts so many different things. So it was a steep learning curve for me. But I just think that as a lifelong learner, I'm always learning new things. I never go into a situation thinking, I know this, so I know that, right? I'm always open. I think you have to be so open-minded to learn, right? And don't just go in with preconceived ideas. So I've learned that too. And and a big thing I learned too is I don't do anything until I have it in writing. Because I can tell you something.
And then they change after. It's true.
Lots of people, you get in trouble
across all board, all aspects, any type of work that you're in. That's a good element. You have to practice that. Make sure it's in writing. One day it's happening and then the next it's not. But you have it in writing. This is the facts.
Absolutely. Because a famous, you'd hear people and they would openly say, just deny. Yeah.
Exactly. So it doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
How do you see your legacy? What legacy right now are you hoping to leave in education? You're leaving a legacy, You're leaving a legacy.
I find that a very interesting question because I don't look at it at that. For me, my only legacy I think I'll have are my kids.
Okay.
Because whatever I do, if my kids aren't okay, then it's for naught.
It's for none, yeah.
Right? So I can't be saving other people's kids and abandoning my kids.
Yes.
So really, I just want my tombstone to say that I was the darn best mother in the whole wide world. Yeah. So if that can be my tombstone, I'm good.
You hear that? That's a big one. That's a legacy in itself right there. Love that. Oh,
thank you.
Empowerment and call to action. What advice would you give young people, if you're watching, if you're listening, who want to make a difference? What advice would you give them? It's not too late to start.
No, I think, first of all, I tell young people 3 things. That you're never too young to make a difference.
Exactly.
There's an African proverb that says if you think a mosquito is a little, try sleeping in a tent with a mosquito, right? So I think you're never too little to make a difference. I think that you must always center your why. Forget about, the fame and the money.
Yes, why?
You have to center your why. And everything else will come, right? And because it's not the money that's going to satisfy you.
Yeah.
It's not the fame. It's whatever your passion is when you achieve that goal, right?
I love that. Center your why.
Center your why. And the last thing I say to young people in centering your why is that you always have to remember to take care of yourself. Because, I have seen what it has done to people. This work can consume you.
Yeah.
I know people that have gotten sick, gotten cancer, lost an eye. I, Kala Idimane, may he rest in peace, passed away.
It's true.
Doing this job. He was actually typing a delegation to the board, right? And I think that if you don't tell young people whatever field it is you do, you have to make sure that you take care of yourself.
That's key.
Because nobody is irreplaceable.
Yeah.
And if you think the world is going to stop
just for you,
they will fill your desk. And you're lucky. I always say to people, you see, if I drop down, I think peel, I'm lucky if I get a wreath. Right? Or if I get one. They may call my family and kill it, but I know after a month, nobody calling anybody.
That's it. Quick
like that.
Just like that.
Absolutely. So you have to put things in perspective. The world will go on. Peel will go on. The Ministry of Education will go on. Right? I don't know anybody from the ministry that's going to come to my funeral if I drop down. Right?
No.
So it's like, you have to really take care of yourself.
Yes, yes. That's the advice, people. You have to take care of
Absolutely.
the vessel before you can really pour into others. You have to make sure
Absolutely.
that's well and in top notch. Love that. You're dropping a lot of gems, a lot of golden nuggets here. You know, I'm just like, let me get that one down.
Real.
I love that. You know, it's good to have this conversation with you and just get a look at the full picture of the day-to-day, what you go through, while you interact with people and things that you've experienced. You know, it's really good to see that and the change that you're inputting in the system. Which brings me to the foundation and the understanding, the systematic anti-Black racism in education. You know, what does that actually look like in real life within schools? You touch on it a little bit, but you
Listen, man. We need like 5 podcasts. That is.
I'm gonna have to have her come back.
Yeah, I tell you. But you know, it is like you see it every day.
Yeah.
It's, you know, it's telling the kids, you know, your kind doesn't go to university. It is, you know, be realistic in your dreams. It is I never knew you were smart. It's all of these things. And I think that what is a form of anti-Black racism that's not often discussed, because these are blatant outward things.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But we're looking at the systemic issues. It is going to places and people saying, oh, she's being dramatic, right? Oh, it's the condescending attitudes. You know, you have had, I've been in spaces where you have trustees that would say they find it heartwarming when they hear these stories, right? So when people come to boards and they delegate, and to me, that's like pain porn. So it's heartwarming to watch Black people cry and talk about all this trauma they're going through, and it really warms your heart. I'm glad it warms your heart. But it's not helping a darn thing for children if we're inactive and not making real systemic changes, right?
Wow.
So I just think that it is, you know, it's so many things. And I try not to even dwell, because people, you know, and you see it, right, every day. And I try to focus and find the people that are willing to work and dismantle, because we have workers in there. And there's so many people quietly working and ignoring all the noise and the nonsense and the brouhaha that's happening, and just sit down there. And I know people, for example, say, I would never want to be a superintendent because I just want to be a principal in my school where I can have an influence, and I sphere of influence, and I can run my school. And there are many amazing people doing just that.
That's good.
Right? And I won't name them for fear of retribution for them, but there are so many people that are just quietly going about doing their thing and making a difference, you know?
Love that.
So
you hear the passion when she talks. She's so passionate about her role and just helping individuals and advocating on their behalf. Why is it important for people to understand that, you know, this isn't just about individual behaviors, but systems? I'm getting the sense that's where it is mainly, you know?
I think it's hard because a lot of parents, they come in from countries that they never encountered this.
Right.
Like, what is like, for example, most people in the Caribbean, I never
did that.
I never was black till I come to Canada. We used to call it glasses, right?
First me I hear about this something here. I'm telling you, it's true.
Didn't Jamaica tell you have buck teeth? They call him monkey.
And that's, you see what I mean?
Right. It wasn't about, oh, you're black.
Yeah, right.
And somehow this was an impediment or some kind of a curse. We're just not in that environment. So a lot of our parents can't understand.
Yes.
Right? And they would dismiss, especially like the newer immigrants that came up here, like in the 50s and 60s. Like, you just work hard and you
it's true,
right? But that is not the reality.
It's not it, no.
And then you have now, I'm dealing with a lot of parents that they went through this. They are the children of the people that migrated in the 70s, right? The 60s, the 70s. And they're like, no, it's not going to happen to my kid.
Right.
Like my husband would tell you, it stops with his kids. His kids are not going to go through the same nonsense he went through. And I think it's hard for people to understand how systems work.
Yes.
Right? Because you're coming from an environment where you were in Jamaica, you just know your study book, you work hard.
You know what I mean?
You went to school and did what you're supposed to do and you excelled.
Yes.
And that's not the reality of our kids, because you have people, for example, you go to banks and because they're calling it skin, you ain't getting the loan.
You're not getting it.
Right?
Yeah.
You have people as a black boy trying to get a medical line of credit, going through hoops. Any other race, you just walk into the bank, I'm in medical school, you sign the paper, boom, you get it.
Easy.
Could you imagine you have a black boy struggling for almost 9 months trying to get a line of credit with a bank? It's like they can't believe that you are actually in medical school, right? You have systems that won't give you information or help you to excel, right? Scholarship opportunities, even settlement workers. I, as a trustee, get involved with settlement work. Because you have black families that they come as refugees, and they don't have the people, we're supposed to have We Welcome the World centers and these settling communities. They don't tell and service black families how they do other families coming here. Tell them where to go and you can get furniture, where to get housing. Who gives people information like that? They're not settling and providing the information to black families. And people don't understand when, you're coming in and trying to register a kid, the information that they're giving is actually often faulty. You have children talk about systemicness because they have an accent. They want to put them in a remedial class.
Yes.
As I say, black people are the only ones with accent that come here, right? And these are the things that are happening to our kids. And invariably, people come and they hear stories of this grand, beautiful land, Canada, that's so fair, it's so wonderful, right? So they let their guards down and they're not vigilant enough. I remember the story of, Dr. Gooden, who is a very, very, very senior in, I think it's East York General or North York General, but in a hospital nevertheless.
Yes.
Right? And he tell you when they wanted to put him into those days, they had they're trying to stream kids. And his father said, let my son fail at the university level. And see, he's a successful doctor today.
No way.
Right? So as parents, you have to really, this systemness thing is not just a hoax. It's not just something an excuse. It's real, right? And even you have bright, educated kids who are not, like, say, troublesome. Because a lot of people say, if you just do what you're supposed to do, right? That are still being streamed, that are still being told, right? And I can tell you, in my personal experience with I remember when they took on my son and tell him that, you're kind, doesn't go to university, right? Or we didn't know black people were smart.
Yes.
These things are, I give you a better than that. You have teachers. I remember a teacher, right, called my son a name. So like say he called him Christopher.
Yes.
And my son says, my name is not Christopher. He said, it doesn't matter, you all look alike.
Oh, no.
Okay?
Oh, no.
I mean, I'm talking like in the 1920s.
Yeah, these are modern time things.
Modern times, and they feel the power that you can make these comments to. Like, you can't make up the nonsense that our kids are experiencing. And as parents too, I always tell parents, never tell your kids, like, just forget about it.
Yeah. No.
That's mental trauma.
Underneath the rug. You have to face that on, address it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And our kids, because we have this myth out there that black kids aren't committing suicide. They are. Right? So we have to we can't negate their feelings either. And it's not imagined, right? There is, and the system is not a boogeyman, right? It's
real,
racist people making racist decisions that are having negative impact on our kids. Right? And we need to address it head on and not pretend that it doesn't matter. No.
Address that elephant in the room.
Absolutely.
Wow. Some of the things that you've shined some light on for me. Oh my gosh, wow. You hear about it, but sometimes you don't really, live it, or you're involved so deep. But when you hear about it, you can only just imagine what these students feel, and the family, how they feel, and what they're going through.
Yeah. And even some of the kids that are these so-called good kids, they tell you, even that, when they look back at their experiences.
Yeah.
And I think it's an unfair burden
That they have
on
to,
a child.
to
that they have
carry
to bear.
that. Yeah.
Just ignore it. Just keep your head down. Keep it.
You should never have to.
You should not.
No.
You should be allowed to be a kid, right? And all kids should have an environment free of discrimination.
And feel safe and be
safe.
allowed to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
she's making the change for that, y'all. She is making the change. Again, we're speaking to former trustee Kathy McDonald. I want to get into a little fun game with you. We're going to switch gears a little bit, wind it down a little bit. It's called the Real Talk School Edition. I'm going to call out two little things, and you tell me which answer resonates with you best, or which one you feel is the correct answer. It's just a mix of fun insights. Strict teacher or chill teacher?
Strict teacher.
Oh? For some reason, I thought you say chill.
No?
Okay, tell me why you say strict teacher.
Because I think success comes with discipline.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And I think you can be strict, but with love.
Okay, all right.
And I think strict doesn't mean mean. And I would say I'm a very strict parent, for example, but I'm not a mean parent.
Yeah, there's a difference.
I think there's a difference. And I think, we have words like discipline that's like a negative. Discipline is not a negative thing. I think discipline is crucial and essential to success, right? Because usually the indisciplined people are not the ones that are very successful.
Okay.
Right? So, yeah.
I like that one. All right. Homework now. Necessary or outdated?
Absolutely necessary.
Necessary. All right. I'm going to leave that one. Parents' emails or student complaints? Parent email or student complaints?
I think parents email, because I think parents need to be in the loop
of what's
of what's what's going on. And I just want to make a quick comment about the homework.
Yes.
Because I always tell people, you have now you can just press a button. For example, you can bring up a periodic table. But I tell you, I've never seen a world-class chemist that doesn't know the periodic table inside out.
Okay. You see?
You think about that.
Think about that one. Early mornings or late school days?
Early mornings.
Early mornings, eh? Yeah, I'm a little bit of an early person.
Yeah.
Policy first or people first?
No, you see, that has to be a
you see, oh!
And I tell you why again. I always like to tell you that story because, believe it or not, I remember a situation where there was a need, an urgent need to move a bus stop because of a horrendous event that occurred at a bus stop.
Okay, all right.
And the person said, well, this is our policy. And so we can't change it. And I thought it was the most illogical, nonsensical thing. Because if you have a situation, let's say somebody was murdered at a scene, why would you put a bus stop right in front of a spot where, and I'm trying to protect the kid's identity, so I'm not giving the exact example, but a kid is murdered and you put a bus stop right by where the kid's blood is on a pavement. That makes no sense to me. Regardless of what your policy says, you need to move the bus stop, right? And I think we have to balance both. And policies are necessary, absolutely.
Yeah.
But we have to balance it with common sense, right? I remember even the email addressing that situation where I said, do it for policy and common sense.
Yeah.
Because at some point, there's a balance that's needed between a policy and people. And I think we have to balance
both of them. I would say definitely. That's a definite tie. Representation or policy, like which creates faster change?
I think representation is important, but I don't think just black skin, because invariably we put people in positions simply because of a black skin, and often they're absolutely useless or tokens. I think you need sensible representation, people that are going to advocate for you. And that's another thing when you talk about one thing I've learned, because a lot of times black people say, oh, they can't say this, but every other culture, every other represented group, be it a religious group, be it a sexual orientation, be it other races, they come in and they would advocate for their needs. And for some reason, too many of our folks are like, oh, they don't want to rock the boat. Oh, they can't say this. Right? And I'm tired of that nonsense. So I think proper representation is key to getting change, because we do more harm than good when we have useless representation, because then people are saying, oh, look, they're okay with it. And they take the voice, right? And they dangle these little tokens and say, oh, yes, these people are upholding this thing, right? So I think we need proper representation, not just representation, proper representation.
Love that explanation of that. If you could change one thing in school system overnight, what would it be? Overnight, instant.
You're trying to get me mad on fire. Let me see what is a diplomatic answer for that.
Oh boy.
Actually, if I was to change one thing overnight, I think I would like to see the trustee role as a full-time, treated almost like a school council, a city councilor role, a full-time role. I think you should not be allowed to work or have any like side hustles to do this role.
Devoted to that
role. And I think that we should also have mandated training because it's a very complex role, balancing the governance piece with, I think a lot of people don't really understand their role. We have people who want to, as trustees, want to come and mandate vaccine for kids, like, all kind of crazy things. You have trustees who want to say we're going to put in playgrounds in the parks. That's not our role as a trustee, right? So I think it should be a full-time role and given the respect that it deserves, because I think it's arguably the most important political role out there.
Out there right now.
Yeah.
Yes, I love that. Overnight, that's what we're going to change.
Yeah, if I had a magic wand.
If you had a magic wand.
And nobody could come and dismantle. And that's why we use the term former trustee, because right now our board is under supervision.
Yeah.
So, but I'm running for re-election.
Excellent. So make sure you do.
I absolutely would. Even if they give me $1, I'll run.
This is for you. This is your calling. You're doing an excellent job. If your leadership style had a slogan, what would it say?
Not an absentee trustee.
Ooh.
I am there. I show up. I try to, be present to make sure that our parents are getting the representation that they deserve, and make sure that the system is there. I try to make sure our policies are in place, right? That can be effective because, we have to protect the board in terms of we don't have unlimited funds, right? We can't go bankrupt delivering education. But I think that we have to also ensure that our students are being served and our families are being served.
It's big,
right? So I think,
they keep you guys in those positions, basically. You're there working for them.
Absolutely.
In other words, yes. Now onto the personal side of the mix, fun and insights. Coffee or tea? Are you a coffee or tea person? Tea, all right. Tea. Tell me the kind of tea you like.
I like turmeric and ginger tea.
Turmeric?
Yeah.
I was not expecting that.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I have that every morning.
Turmeric and ginger. Okay, that's a new one. All right. Heels or runners?
Runners. Runners.
You're runners, eh? Nice and comfortable.
I move too fast for heels. Yeah, and I think my husband would tell you he didn't marry me for my daintiness. So hey, I'll go with runners.
Runners, very comfortable. You answered this in the earlier session. Winter or summer? I think you said it.
Absolutely winter.
The lady says she loves winter. Oh my gosh, I don't know. I think this is the first that I'm seeing someone really enjoy winter.
Nope.
All right, mango or apples?
Mangoes. Julie Mango.
Julie Mango specifically.
Julie Mango, any day.
You do quite a few traveling. Which country have you really enjoyed visiting, or what's your favorite vacation spot that you've been to so far?
I would say St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, very nice.
Yeah.
Eh? Yeah.
St. Lucia is, I would say that's my number one vacation spot. I love it's lush. It's small enough where you can just get around everywhere. I just love it.
Might have to check out St. Lucia.
Yeah.
All right. And what is next for Kathy? Are you working on anything behind the scenes?
I do,
what you got going on? You can't tell us. Not even a little snippet. There's a book. There's a book. I'm joking.
We'll see.
I'm like, there's a book.
We'll see. Yeah,
Okay, I thought there was a little bit something there, but honestly, whatever you're working on, we know it's going to be good. Which brings us to a segment called Good Things Are Coming. This is the segment of my show where I like to leave our listeners and our viewers with a positive affirmation to help them get through the week. So I'm going to drop a little Good Things Are Coming, and then Kathy's going to drop a little Good Things Are Coming. Good things are coming because there are people in rooms making decisions who actually care. All right, Kathy, drop a little Good Things Are Coming for our listeners and viewers.
I think good things are coming because you have people actually quietly doing the work and ignoring the brouhaha.
The brouhaha. I love that one. Love that one. Kathy, I want to say thank you so much for being here on the Monie Podcast. You've been a breath of fresh air, so insightful, and your passion just pours through in all of your answers and just in everything that you're doing. You gave straight, raw answers and insight into spaces that affect so many of us, yet it isn't always fully understood. So I'm glad that you were able to shine some light on that for us. This conversation was not just informative, but necessary. And I hope my listeners and viewers, you guys were able to get some information from this as well, and ask any questions below. If there was something you wanted us to touch on, we didn't get to it, definitely, and stay engaged. To everyone listening, if this episode gave you clarity and perspective, make sure you subscribe. Very important. Any last words to our listeners, viewers, anything you want to say? Pour a little something to them, let them know where you can be reached. Are you on social media? Do you want people to?
Yes, sure, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, drop your handles.
Thank you for having me. It has been fun.
Thank you.
And I will come back here. I'm ready to reveal my next steps.
We're going to plan that. Yeah, man.
Absolutely. And it has been a blast. And if anyone wants to get a hold of me, you can find me on Instagram or X and Facebook at Trustee McDonald. You can also reach out to me at 905-796-8163. And it doesn't matter which board you are from, wherever you come, once it's around education, reach out to me. I will help you. I would gladly, try and steer you in the right direction. And, certain things that, almost all the boards have certain sort of basic ways of doing things, but some things are unique to other boards. I will try and give you the best answers that I can provide. And for parents out there, I would encourage you to be involved in your child's educational journey every step of the way. Bear in mind that your expectations and educators' expectations often differ.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure when they say, for example, on a progress report card, your child is doing well, ask them to define what is well. Because C plus may be well in the eyes of someone for a little black boy, whereas you have dreams of an A plus, right? And I encourage you not to give up, to always, engage and talk to your kids about school, because it's the most important investment you can make in your life is investing in your kids.
Definitely.
I've done it. It has paid off for me. It will pay off for you.
Love that. Love that. Again, we want to thank Kathy McDonald for being a guest on the Monie Podcast. Like, subscribe, follow, and remember, good things are coming. Bye for now.
Bye.